We do have one staff update this evening. I've asked Megan McPherson, our Public Affairs and Communications Director, to give the council an overview of our public outreach strategy as it relates to Engage Roseville. As the council knows, we are starting our Community Priorities Advisory Committee this next week, a week from tonight. And so this is an opportunity for Megan to share with the community how they can engage in that whole process in an even much broader scale.
Thank you, Rob, and good evening, Mayor Rohan and members of City Council. We're talking tonight about the ways the community can participate in the Engage Roseville effort. And you appointed the members to the Community Priorities and Advisory Committee, which, as Rob mentioned, has its first meeting next week. But what also is very important to the effort is to recognize the other ways the community at large can participate in this effort and have their voices be heard. So that's what I'll be talking about very briefly tonight. Our goals with the community engagement effort are to educate the community about city finances and broader trends, about expenses and revenue and how that affects the city's ability to fund services. We want to increase awareness of the 5 key public-facing departments: police and fire, development services, public works, and parks, recreation, and libraries that will be presenting to the Community Priorities Advisory Committee. We want to gather input from the community, provide data and analysis that result from those presentations, and share that with the community. And we're hoping that this increases public confidence in city government and community pride as well. Our key audiences, our employees are going to be very important ambassadors for this effort. They have insider knowledge and familiarity with their specific departments and other departments within the city. We want to make sure they understand what's going on, as well as the other groups listed here. Residents, businesses, community leaders, the media are very important to helping the public understand other elected officials and other jurisdictions as well. We're going to be one of the first in the state going through an effort like this, is what we're seeing. In terms of content development, we have an editorial calendar where we're mapping out the different topics we'll be discussing. We are just launching a podcast series. You'll see that come out this Friday, our very first podcast. This is with City Manager Rob Jensen talking about our budget and giving one of those overviews that you can listen to while you're on a run or in a car, and just provide some more personal interaction and dialogue, and we'll be doing that with other staff members as well for this effort. We're developing infographic sheets so that can be a little more easily digestible other than reading long staff reports, but you can capture information at a glance. Video teasers, which will serve that same purpose that we can really use on social media and be easily consumed and give people some familiarity. We'll still be doing written articles that provide a more briefer summary, fact sheets. We developed a logo for the effort, PowerPoint presentations as well. We'll be using our city-owned channels as well, distributing content across this array of channels. The first I wanted to mention for the public, in particular related to the CPAC, is the dedicated website we have for Engage Roseville will have all of the information about the CPAC meetings. So it'll have the schedule, the white papers that departments are developing, their PowerPoints. We're also going to be broadcasting live every meeting. That will be on YouTube, but you'll be able to watch that through that site. And you'll be able to sign up for digital engagement tools and media coverage. And I'll talk about those digital engagement tools in a second. You'll see media coverage that kind of enhances the understanding of what we're working on. Utility bill inserts and material at public counters are some of the other ways we'll be communicating. We'll be using our city-owned communication channels, our television station, our e-newsletter, social media, podcasts, the budget message that we have, bill inserts. And what we want to really highlight is that you can link to all these through this roseville.ca.us/connect. And that's where you can find this and more ways to connect with the city. In terms of community participation to the broader public, we've signed up with Flash Vote, which is something that Placer County is using as well. It's a relatively new tool, but it allows us to get very easily capture information from what the public feels on a series of from 1 to 5 questions. People can go through, the participants are then given the results once the poll closes in 24 to 48 hours. They can go through with geofilters and segregating the information through gender or as I said, geographically or by age to see how different people feel about different topics. So that's a very transparent tool. They also can provide comments on the questions. The Balancing Act Budget Tool is another tool that we'll be using. It's an interactive site. Users can explore city services and costs. They can make budget changes and submit them to the city or share them online. And just like the city staff and council are required, the users are required to have a balanced budget at the end of using this tool when they submit it. We'll be doing community workshops where people can participate in person, as well as presentations to community groups. That's on a, we'll be proactively reaching out, as well as if community groups would like to invite us to talk about this, we'll be happy to do that. And at council coffees, this will come up as well. We'll be doing a variety of media relations, as described there. Media are important partners for us as we really try to translate some of the nuances and intricacies involved in the topics that we're dealing with. From columns in the paper to meeting with reporters to providing articles that can be published in different venues. Directly reaching out to our community, something we'd like to do to, on the next slide, to do a direct mail. Depending on budget, and some of these printed out outreach materials will depend on that as well. But we'd like to let everybody in the community know, since not everybody gets utility bill inserts, or there's not one other way we can reach all households in Roseville. We'd like to find a way to reach them, and I think postcards could be a good way to let them know about the digital engagement tools and opportunities to participate and become aware of these issues. And finally, community relations, we've done a lot of outreach already in generating awareness about the ability to apply to be on the CPAC, as well as some of the other issues that the council has started dealing with regarding budget cuts. We've spoken to all of these groups, and including distributing 500 flyers at Earth Day, right 2 days after the council approved this. And we're going to be continuing to talk to these groups and providing updates as well. And with that, I'd be happy to take any questions or comments.
Thank you.
Megan, that all sounds great, and the only kind of big stakeholder that I didn't see on there was like our schools, and I don't know if we were going to try to reach out and maybe have the school districts hand something to take home and try to get it out of the backpack of the kids. I understand is difficult, but maybe another way to reach out to our residents is just something through the school districts. I know we've got.
It's a great idea, and since we have members of our largest school districts serving on the CPAC, I think that's something that we could add to the list for outreach.
You know, however they put it into their stuff and or something individual. So.
Any other questions?
One question about flashvote.com. So have we utilized that tool as of yet, or
we have not.
How has Placer County used it?
So they've used it to do a survey on how to best communicate. What way do you receive your information or would like to receive your information? They sent out one on a community citizens academy. What days of the week would you like to see that? What times? What kind of topics? With what kind of frequency? They also did one in Tahoe that I saw that asked. I believe it was for an issue for a community that was right on the edge of Lake Tahoe, that they were able to really pinpoint some nuances in responses based on geography of how to deal with it. It was either a public safety or a planning issue, a zoning issue. So they found it very helpful. South Lake Tahoe uses it as well. There's just a few communities that have started using it, but we already have a base in Roseville because of Placer County's launch of it. So we already know there's a certain amount of users in Roseville, and we're going to be promoting sign up for this.
And is it a tool for government entities?
It is.
Okay.
It is.
So citizens sign up for it.
Citizens sign up for it. It's a free account, and part of the sign up is I've signed up for it with Placer County when it first came out, and I found it extremely easy to do. And the benefit is you get to see the results as a participant immediately, so you're not wondering what happened to the results and that it's presented at an obscure meeting 3 months from now. You actually see firsthand what the results are yourself.
And if I could just add a little more to that, on this flash vote, we're not limited to use it just for the CPAC committee. It's actually available for all of our city departments for, I think we've got a year term for the contract that we have. So it gives us some flexibility to see if this can provide value across the city as we move forward.